Hello, I hope you're all well. My name is Faime Moussavi, and I'm glad to be participating in IALLT's 2021 conference on resilience, transformation, and beyond. Indeed, this past year has been transformational for all of us in education, teaching, and learning. I am going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm going to talk about. Our student population generally consists of adult learners who are disciplined, result-oriented, and want to solve problems. As adult learners, they are also busy with their personal and professional life. How do we keep them focused and empower them to take charge of their learning and lead them to autonomy? How do we create a course with lessons that appeal to our students, and how do we keep them interested and engaged? The topic of this presentation is related to motivating students. I'm always interested in student motivation and empowerment, and always in search of new methods in this field. Before we start, please make a short sentence with the first three words that you see in this Wordle. The first words that I saw were students, presenting, and successful. So my sentence would be related to this presentation, in fact. Students presenting in groups can be more successful. I will go over the following quickly, then I will share a sample lesson plan with group activities. And if there is time later, I will share a sample student team teaching lesson. Class in action. What's the instructor's role? Less is more for it. An instructor must be resourceful, must know the subject, and be flexible, be visible when needed. Instructor motivates, guides the students, and is a facilitator. Students' role is more. Students are actively participating in class activities. They are interested and remain interested. The method of teaching that I use is content-based, task-based, mostly project-based, and student-centered instruction. Course and lesson objectives are based on students' needs, and after assessment that shows their needs and their goals, their interests, and objectives are specific, measurable with measurements. They are achievable in that period of time, relevant, and time-bound. The syllabus is flexible. So I identify what's not flexible, the number of hours, for example, topics, tests, and define what can be flexible so I can work around those lessons, activities, field trips, etc. And modify the curriculum based on the progress of students and their needs. In the process, involving students in the creation of curriculum and modifying is very important. I asked for their expectations and goals, regularly involve them by asking for feedback throughout the course. And there is a sample feedback if there is time. During the course and at the end of the course. Incorporating lessons that interest students. The assessment is based on diagnostic assessment. There is an entrance and exit assessment. The course is prepared in a manner that engages and motivates students. So the lesson design is based on the syllabus, diagnostic assessment, verbal assessment, students' needs, goals, and interests, both as individuals and as groups. Clear objectives and interesting activities, assessment of whether the objectives are achieved. Therefore, to prepare that, I analyze the passage and develop activities that foster critical thinking and collaboration among the students, and passages that present different interpretations. Therefore, the focus is on discussion and rationalization rather than one correct answer. And then continuously, there is reflection, review, modification, and developing new materials. Next, I'm going to share a lesson plans that I have used both online and in face-to-face classes. And in both formats, it was well received and interested in students. This lesson is about extreme right movement in France. The founder, Jean-Marie Le Pen, and the foundation of National Front Party's views on immigration, as well as the opposing views. And the lesson goes on to what the party's views is led by his daughter, Marine Le Pen. And then there is a comparison with those views and similar views in the US. The day before, students conduct research on the history of the National Front Party and its approach to immigration. So the day before, students are divided into 3 groups, and they conduct research on the history of National Front Party approach to immigration. Then each group posts their result for discussion. So the day of the class, then after warm-up and discussion, students predict what the video will be about. Then they watch a video, compare their prediction to the actual video content, and create their own title for it. In another group, students prepare Le Pen's opponent argumentation and discuss with their peers. Then they will be working in 3 groups. And group 1 represents the original National Front. Group 2 represents the more modern party, and group 3 an opposing party. Each group has a separate room in MS Teams for research and discussion. So each group conducts more research on their assigned subject in their own assigned room. The groups then research and prepare their arguments about immigration, analyze the evolution of Le Pen's party, provide opinions on changes, and describe and interpret the attitude of the party in the mainstream media. Then they post the summaries of their findings and analysis on LMS, and in this case, MS Teams. Each group then reads the post by other groups and writes 2 comments, 1 pro and 1 contra. Then all groups come back to the main classroom, share their opinions, and try to convince others of being right. In all these activities, the students' production is observed by the instructor, corrections are made if necessary, and a positive and formative feedback is provided on the spot. Next, I will talk about what worked for student collaborative learning in online and face-to-face courses. As I mentioned, this sample lesson was very successful in both formats. What worked was being ready but flexible, a deep knowledge of the material, being updated on the latest trends in education, identifying students' levels, learning needs and interests, educational background, learning styles, etc. Involving students in the process, preparing collaborative activities that engage all students, students group teaching, and projects and group presentations. So what's the future? Teaching, inspiring, and motivating students to encourage them in becoming lifelong autonomous learners. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully next time in person, and I look forward to hearing your questions. Thank you.